This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic.
Hey, Bright Soul. Thank you so much for joining me on this cold Colorado day. Before I go into the podcast for today, which is a big topic, I want to tell you something shameful about me right now, and that is the fact that I am afraid of mice. And it is so cold here that I decided to put our trash bins, you know, the big old trash bins that you drag out to the curb and they come and pick them up once a week. I was putting them in the garage because I normally put them on the side of the house, but it's been snowing. And so when I'm dragging them through the snow, first of all, there's an overgrown bush over there. And, you know, so you get smacked with the bush when you're trying to drag it onto the side of the house. And I know I need to cut it down. I usually do cut it down. I just haven't because it's cold. Y'all, I don't want to be out there in the cold. So anyway, when I was dragging them out to go to the trash, to put them on the trash, on the curb, the trash cans on the curb, good Lord. So the bush had snow on it and it smacked me in the head. And I'm like, that's it. I'm not doing this during the winter. So I put them in the garage. Now, every single year, mice come into the garage because in the winter months when it's cold. And so if you all remember, I think it was last year, I was pulling a vehicle I was putting stuff up in the garage, like overhead. So I pulled the vehicles out and then I realized that there were dead mice in the garage, and I had ran over one. And the way I hollered, it was just like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I had to pick it up with one of those trash sticks and throw it away. And it was just so traumatic. Like I had to really, really hype myself up. And then the orange cat brought in 2 mice into the house. One, I didn't realize what it was. I thought he was playing with a toy, but he'd actually killed a mouse, brought it inside, and that was traumatic. And then he brought in a mouse and it was living, and I saw it run across the kitchen, and the way I hollered, it was, just even thinking about it, I'm putting my hands on my head. Like it was so stressful. And then I woke my daughter up and I'm screaming, it was ridiculous. I can't help it. Anyway, so they come into the garage. Well, so the exterminator was putting mice poison and stuff. I don't like doing that. I don't want to poison anything. I just don't want it to be inside my garage. So now that we have the orange cat and oh yeah, by the way, hold that thought. I'm going to tell you another story about a mouse and the orange cat in a minute. I forgot we had a third mouse. So because he's hunting them, I'm afraid that if the mice eat poison and then he eats them or bites them, he's going to get poisoned. So I don't want to put poison in the garage. So a friend of mine, during the last mice incident with the garage last year, he was telling me that he puts fabric softener sheets in his truck and they don't come into the truck. I tried that, guys. It's not working. So then I read you can do peppermint oil. So the way that my whole garage, it's probably this entire block is like, what's that whiff of peppermint? Because I'm over here. I'm like, please don't come into my garage. So I put the trash bins in my garage so that I don't have to get smacked in the head and have snow all over me just to put the trash can on the side of the house. And and the bins are closed. It's not like we have a bunch of food and stuff in the garage. We don't. The bins are closed down. So I've been clutter clearing and honestly, it's not like clutter. It's just things I'm not using anymore. Like for instance, my daughter wanted this massage table. I don't take clients in person anymore. So she had this idea that she was going to do lashes. So she was pushing me to get another massage table. I'm like, you're not going to use it, but you know how this goes. I get it. She doesn't use it. And then it ends up in my meditation space in the closet. No, I'm not. If I don't love it and I don't use it as clutter. So I'm dragging out the massage table and I open up the garage and I'm putting it in there temporarily because I'm going to load up my vehicle and take it to the thrift store. And I have been doing a lot of shamanic journeys connecting with spirit animals. I've been doing a lot of really deep meditation work as I'm doing the clutter clearing because I've made a ritual out of it. So everything I am taking out, there's an intention behind it. As I carry this out, I'm making more room for whatever it is, right? I am carrying that massage table out. I open the garage door and a mouse bolts from underneath the stairs and it runs in this like along the garage wall outside. The way I hollered, I was shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's mice underneath the stairs. Like, I'm not gonna be able to go in the garage anymore. And I don't know why. I mean, they're so tiny. And my daughter's like, oh my God, they're so cute. I'm like, I don't know why. I feel like it's gonna get my feet. So I'm like, oh my God. So I drop the massage table, I run inside. I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Then I notice that the mice have chewed a hole into the natural fertilizer that I bought for the yard. It's not like a poisonous fertilizer. It's like a natural, it's almost like a feed, like a little, and it's from like, I don't know, it's all natural ingredients. It won't harm pets, blah, blah, blah. They have chewed a hole in it and they've been eating it. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, okay, I have to clear out this hole, clear the hole, like patch it, and then take the shop vac and vacuum up the mess because as long as this is in here, they're going to be coming in here and eating. So I'm like, okay, Susan, get it. You got this. You got it. Thank David Goggins. You got it. You can do it. I'm so terrified. Oh my gosh, y'all. So then I go back out in the garage with the shop vac. I'm like, this is going to scare, no mouse is going to run out or anything. I'm running it. I'm vacuuming it up. Y'all, I turn off the freaking shop vac. Another mouse runs from underneath the stairs in the same line. I mean, it runs by the wall in the same pattern as the first one. I scream, I drop the shop vac, and I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And then it's dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute. Is there a shamanic message for mice? Because I've been doing all these journeys. So I go inside and I'm like, okay, I'm so scared to go in the garage. Like even in the morning when I go to the gym, I'm running. I'm scared it's going to like run out in the same. So now I'm paranoid. I'm watching and I get peppermint spray and I'm spraying it all over. I'm dropping fabric softeners, around the dryer sheets, like around the garage. I haven't seen one since. So then I'm telling my daughter, I'm like, you aren't going to believe this, but I know I've been doing all these shamanic journeys. I've been connecting with my nature animal, my spirit tree, my spirit flower, my animal totem. I'm clutter clearing. I'm really tuning into the home. Like, where does it want me to go? Where can I miss stuff? I mean, I've been in it. I mean, I've been like in the ethers. And I go, and there's mice in our garage. And she's like, that's never happened to me. She goes, but I forgot to tell you. And I look at her, I'm like, don't tell me there are mice in here. I can't handle it. She goes, no, Milo, the kitten, he put a mouse in her laundry basket. So he got him, and he's going outside and dragging them in. So he's a hunter. I mean, he's put snakes inside, grasshoppers. It's horrifying, is what it is. And I'm like, appreciate the sentiment. Don't want it. Please stop. So she was doing laundry. She dumps the laundry basket, like the whole laundry basket, into the washing machine, washes her clothing. She's going to put them in the dryer, and there's a mouse in the hamper. So she had to take it and discard. Thank God it wasn't me. So, and I go, wait a minute, you don't have a lid on your laundry hamper? She's like, well, I do. So now, and I have a lid on mine too. So now I'm so scared that I'm going to open up my laundry basket and there's going to be a mouse. So that was a long, hopefully entertaining story, but it is a real thing. So I have to really work and regulate my nervous system every single time I go in the garage. And I've gotten to the point where like when I'm going to walk out to the garage, I like stomp on the stairs like, okay, if there's any mouse under there, like, I'm coming out and I don't know what to do to keep them out of the garage. I know they're going in there because it's cold. And I did drag the trash cans, even though I know that's not the issue because it happens every year. And I've just started doing that with the trash cans. But I'm like, I don't care. They were chewing through the fertilizer. So I have been dragging the trash cans on the side of the house again, even though they get covered with snow and I get smacked in the face by the bush every time I go on the side of the house. But I don't know what else to do. I heard peppermint oil, so I've been spraying stuff. I even had some like Vicks vapor. They were cartridges for a humidifier and I found them when I was clutter clearing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't use this. I'm like, ooh, maybe I can take those out of the package and put those in the garage. Like the eucalyptus smell, maybe it won't, the mice will be like, ew, and not want to come in. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions, but I know that was a super long intro. And that is not why we're here today, friends. We are here to talk about something that most of us, probably all of us, have dealt with, and that is shame. Because this is an underlying emotion and it really does affect our relationships, our sense of self. And I want to talk about the roots of shame, how it manifests, and most importantly, how to heal it. And I want to talk about two people that I've studied on this matter, and that is Brene Brown and Dr. Mario Martinez. Just briefly, things that I've learned that have really helped. And then we're going to talk about some somatic practices to help release it. Because if you have noticed, if you've ever done talk therapy keeps you stuck in your head. They really, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it doesn't help you embody the change. It just keeps you understand it. Has that ever happened to you where you're like, yes, I understand why I do this. I still do it. I understand why I feel this way. I still feel like it. And you just don't feel like you can move the needle. That's because somatic practices are missing and you're not embodying the change. So I wanted to talk about that as well. So when we feel shame, we have a feeling like there's something fundamentally wrong with who we are. Unlike guilt focuses on actions and shame focuses on identity. So if we do something, we can say, oh, like I feel guilty about doing that. That's different than shame. Shame focuses on your identity. It makes you feel unworthy of love, connection, and success. And it often leads to self-sabotage, people-pleasing, and also isolation because it has an impact on your behavior. And in Brene Brown's work, she talks about describing shame as an intensely painful feeling or an experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore we're unworthy of belonging. And she talks about shame thrives in secrecy and silence. That's where it really starts to feed. And in the work of Dr. Mario Martinez, he talks about biocognition, and shame is a cultural wound and it's tied to beliefs about our worthiness imposed by others. So shame often originates from feeling ostracized or judged by our tribe or by our family, which we're black sheep. So chances are that is the case. And so usually it's rooted in childhood experiences where either we've had critical or neglectful parents, or we've been bullied, or we had some unmet emotional needs. These plant seeds of shame really early on. And then we've got cultural and societal expectations, unrealistic standards around beauty, around success, gender roles. It can often make us feel inadequate. Traumatic events are a big one where maybe we've experienced abuse, neglect, rejection. This can create deep wounds that manifest as shame. So Brene Brown talks about vulnerability being the antidote to shame. And when we share our stories and we connect with others, we diminish the shame's power. Now, I want to say you may not be there yet. And when we are sharing our stories, it's important to choose who we share them with because not everyone is able to meet you there and they're not able to hold it. So I have found by being honest with yourself first and foremost, that is really helpful because that when you're vulnerable with yourself, because a lot of times we don't even want to admit things to ourselves. So for me, the first step is admitting it to yourself. And Dr. Mario Martinez talks about healing shame involves, and this, I really, really resonate with his work. It helped me a lot. Healing shame involves addressing the cultural narratives that we've internalized and then replace them with affirming beliefs about our worth. So when you are dealing with things, and I'll just use an example. Those of us as black sheep, I will tell you in my daily life right now, the work that I do outside of my regular work, it is judged by people that are aware of the work that I do because they don't understand it and it's weird to them. And I get it. I'm still going to do it because this is part of who I am. And so it's really interesting how there are certain things that you just don't bring up to other people because you know that they're not in the same place as you. And you also know when they're talking about you, you can feel it. But I've just learned to know that I am got to be honest with myself. I am not the norm. I am a one percenter. I'm for the few. I'm not for everyone. And the work that I'm doing is work that most people are not. We are in a minority, not the majority. Anytime you're in a minority, you are going to be judged and ostracized and not overall, I don't want to say accepted because there's aspects of yourself that are accepted, but you're probably called weird. You're probably called out. I know I am. And I've just accepted that that is not someone that I would connect to on a holistic level. They aren't going to accept every part of myself, and they're not going to understand every part of who I am and what I'm here to do. And that's okay. They don't have to. That's their journey. We connect in other ways. So I focus on that and I don't internalize it because I know that any great teacher. I mean, Jesus was ostracized. Anybody that's walked a path that's unlike other people, first of all, someone has to go first, and they're the ones that get the stone thrown and they get judged harshly. And when people, it takes an actually courageous person to step into that role because you are not part of the collective. You're in the collective, but you're set apart because you are not participating the same way they are. You're not a sheep. You are leading the pack. And even though you don't have like a huge, what do I want to say? You don't necessarily have to have like a big public display of it. It's the way you carry yourself. It's how you spend your time. So I know that when I'm feeling a little bit like, oh, Susan, you really don't fit in or you're so strange, I just go, wait a minute. Every great teacher and spiritual person has felt this way. It's part of my path and it's who I am. And so how can I love and support myself more? So I transform it into being more of who I am. But that's taken work. It wasn't always there. I used to feel really, really, really ostracized is a really good word, but I used to have a lot of shame around but the way that I am, who I am as a person. I mean, I don't drink. I don't enjoy alcohol. I don't enjoy those environments. Our culture here in the US is huge around alcohol. I live in Colorado. I don't smoke weed. I don't want to be around people that smoke weed. I don't enjoy the smell of weed. It's everywhere here. And when you're connecting in social circles, a lot of times that's what it's centered around. Oh, and so now I'm in the healing space. Oh, let's do ayahuasca. No, I don't do that either. That cracks your webbings. You don't need it. It brings in low energies. No, I'm not doing that. I don't need to do that. I know I have an idea. Why don't you just simply exist the way that you are and just do the hard work day in and day out and get the same results without all of that risk? So even in the spiritual community, there's an element of being different. And I share all that to say, we are all expressing our own energetic blueprint of what we have come here to express. It looks different. There'll be similarities, but there's a little bit of difference in all of it. And we all have to work through these emotions. So when I start to feel like, oh man, I'm not enough, or I'm feeling like unworthy or inadequate, or I feel like I'm avoiding vulnerability, or I'm going into people pleasing, or I'm perfection. All these are signs of shame is surfacing, or being perfect, trying to, have this perfectionism. That's just covering up vulnerability and being flawed, or self-sabotage. Those are all signs. The other thing, physical signs can be like tension in the body, avoiding eye contact, feeling like you need to hide. I don't know why I said I like that. Anyway, I'm trying to make this also light because I know it's a heavy topic. So in any case, in relationships, shame can create walls between us and other people, and it makes it hard to trust other people because you're not trusting yourself. And it makes it hard to really love other people and show yourself to other people because you're not loving yourself. So when I have these things surface, I know this is a call to do the somatic work, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute. So in creativity, if your creativity is feeling blocked, it could be shame because it makes it hard to take risks or express ourselves authentically when we're fearing judgment or rejection. So I've learned that everyone is not safe to share with. So I choose my people really carefully. And if they show me that they're not safe to share with, then I don't share with them anymore. And it's really good, valuable information because I know that's not really the person that is going to fulfill that role for me. And so I've been partnered with people who aren't safe to share with before. And I've shared that in previous podcasts. I understand that. So then after I know, oh, look, that person's not safe to share with, it doesn't have anything to do with me. It has something to do with where they are at in their journey and we're not aligned. And that's okay. It means good information. I'm not going to cast my pearls to swine in this instance, and I'm going to focus on growing through this. So when we are in shame, it can keep us stuck in cycles of fear and self-doubt. So we want to release all of that. We are in a season of up-leveling and addressing these uncomfortable patterns that have kept us stuck. So here's how we heal it. The first sign is awareness. The first step to healing it is recognizing when shame shows up. Journaling can really help you identify these triggers and patterns. Really ask yourself, where am I feeling this? What is going on? You can drill down the questions to get to the root of what you are feeling and what triggered it. And then what are the patterns that you're exhibiting where it's showing up for you. And the second piece is self-compassion. Treat yourself with the kindness that you would offer a friend. Affirmations really help. Things like, I am worthy of love and acceptance. Here's another one. I am worthy of the love and acceptance that I give other people. Because a lot of times we're overgivers and we give people more compassion than we even give ourselves. And so it's time to put all of that love and acceptance and compassion into you. Vulnerability is huge. Sharing your feelings with a trusted friend, a therapist. A lot of this comes out in private sessions. When we do private sessions, we're in a sacred container and we're in a space to address it. Vulnerability helps dissolve shame's power, and connection is the key to overcoming shame. Also, challenging the beliefs that fuel your shame. Write your new cultural scripts that affirm your worth and value. So, for example, replace I'm not good enough with I am valuable and deserving of love. Every single thing we've been through is here for our growth. It is here for us. It's so things are happening for us and not to us. I'm so grateful for my journey because it has taught me so much and I'm such a stronger person because of it. So the other thing that we need to do is somatic practices. This is where talk therapy often misses the mark. And I'm not saying all of it. Sometimes I'll say that and people will say, oh, my therapist, okay, that's great. But for the majority, and I hear it so much in private sessions, people will book a private session, do a half an hour and say, this half an hour was like 10 years of talk therapy. This is incredible. Why? Because energy healing is somatic. It goes into the layers to pull out those seeds. So deep breathing is a somatic practice. Inhaling deeply into your belly for a count of 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. This helps calm your nervous system. Also, body scanning. Close your eyes and scan your body for areas of tension. Send gentle breaths to those areas and imagine them softening. Grounding techniques. Imagine yourself standing barefoot on the ground. Feel your connection to the earth and visualize releasing shame into the soil. Embodied affirmations. Place your hand on your heart while saying, I am worthy of love and belonging. I do belong. I am love. And then movement. Dance, stretch, practice yoga, lift weights. That's my favorite. Moves stagnant energy and releases stored emotions. And we are also going to go into a healing. I just thought those practices were, I don't know, it's kind of strange. I just felt called to put some music with those practices because it helps to put you in your body and help you to go a little bit deeper. So the other thing I wanted to do was give you some actionable tips before we go into the healing. I release shame and embrace my worthiness. Imagine your shame as a heavy cloak. Visualize removing it and stepping into a light-filled space where you feel free and loved. Visualization works. Your mind does not know the difference between what is actually happening and what you're imagining happening. This is why you can sit and think of a terrifying event and your body responds. You can sit in your mind and scare yourself. You can also sit in your mind and put yourself in the most blissed out state possible. Your mind actually is the most powerful thing. So, visualization is not just pie in the sky, it works. The other thing is doing a gratitude practice. Write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself each day, because this will shift your focus from shame to self-worth. I've done this. It helps me so much. And it's good to do it when you feel a shame spell coming on. It's okay. We're working through it. And again, when you feel it, when you feel some shame coming up, the fact that you are aware of it means you're ready to release it. So the other thing that Dr. Mario Martinez talks about, and I think it's really, really sweet and powerful, is you can create a small ceremony to honor your journey. Light a candle and just declare, I reclaim my worth and I let go of this shame. Let the fire in the candle burn up the shame and reclaim your worth. And I just give tips. I mean, modify it to what feels good to you, but I try to give suggestions based on my experience, my research, what I've done that works to give you something that you can incorporate into your own life and move through this. So let's go into a healing. And once again, I'm feeling like I probably should do a healing coming up for shame specifically. It's interesting how kind of the theme is to go a little bit deeper with this stuff, even after we do the podcast. And I'm going to totally follow that intuition. So you can uncross your arms and legs, and I will turn the healing on. Okay. And so it is. I know that was really quick, but the main thing with that healing was pulling cords and doing a aura cleanse. So when we were doing the practices where the music was on earlier, that was also bringing in energy and I was feeling into that. So this is something that you don't have to be ashamed of. I deal with shame. I've dealt with shame. I've carried it for a long, long time. And it's something that I have been able to transmute. I'm not perfect at it. Emotions come and go. We watch them. We don't energize them. But if you do energize them, again, it's all perfect. It's for a purpose. In every instance, it's what am I learning? And how can I love myself more? How can I transmute this? What is this here to teach me? And there's so many practices that we have. We just have to do them. It's really that simple. And we all need the reminders, myself included. We always teach what we need to learn. So what's coming in is stuff that I am dealing with and have dealt with. I'm in this with you. And vulnerability is such a sweet elixir. It really is. And that is one of the reasons why I created this channel. I know that people in my regular life find this channel. I'm sure that they talk about me. I'm sure they make fun of me. I'm sure of it. I can feel it. And guess what? That's okay. I'm still going to do it because I love you. I really do. And I want to wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.